Hello everyone, I'm back making a video about Disgaea 6. I wanted to align my thoughts a little bit better than when I made the video regarding the announcement. So let's get started. So Disgaea 6 got announced, and I'm obviously really excited for it to come out. I'm a very big fan of the series, and I like what Nipponichi is doing currently. They had been releasing some pretty good titles, re-releasing some pretty good titles, so this is just the cherry on top of the cake. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is about the Nintendo Switch exclusivity. Now, it seems like it's only going to be a thing on Switch in the West, and not in Japan, because the Japan trailer very clearly had PlayStation 4 listed alongside the Nintendo Switch, which leads me to believe, but this is pure speculation, that Nintendo is actually very interested in working together with Nipponichi, and possibly they might have partially funded the localization of Disgaea 6 in the West, but as a part of the deal, they wanted Nipponichi to make the game exclusive to those regions for their system. So I think that's a pretty fair assumption to make. Of course, we can't be sure because Nipponichi doesn't have a straight up statement. Nintendo doesn't have a straight up statement that says that they funded the localization, or at least none that I'm aware of. So I think we just gotta wait for more information on that if we really want to be sure, but I think it's possible that Nintendo gave them a little push. Now, some people are saying they're doing this because they're short on money, and yes, there very much were reports of Nipponichi being in a tough financial spot some time ago now, and there was talk of Disgaea 6 being cancelled, but then Nipponichi came out and said, well, we're working on Disgaea 6, we're not gonna give up on the Disgaea series, and that's very logical because it's their biggest money maker, it's their flagship title, so obviously they want to release a game in that series when they're in a tough spot financially. However, it does seem like they are now financially stable, according to this article I'm pulling up right now. To say that they were almost bankrupt, I think that's a pretty bold statement. I don't think they're that down in the dumps to be absolutely needing the funding of Nintendo in order to even have it released in the West. I don't think that's a requirement. Especially since they've been earning some money with Disgaea 4's re-release, for example, and the Prinny 1 and 2 platformer games coming up, as well as Mad Red Dead also releasing in the West. So I don't think I don't think the reason is that they're too short on money. I just think that they got a chance from, I think, maybe Nintendo. Now that kind of sucks for the PlayStation owners, because this guy is from origin a PlayStation exclusive. It's been exclusive to the PlayStation, so to have it not be on PlayStation in the West is kind of a weird move, which leads to many people speculating about why they did it. And one of the main things that these people are bringing up is that Nintendo funded the localization that they couldn't fund themselves, which I don't think is 100% true. But then again, we have no idea, we're just speculating. There's no hard evidence, there's no real information on this, so it's never going to be more than speculation, for now at least. So I'm going to leave that topic there. Now, to move on to a little more, some more fun things I want to talk about is is the gameplay. Now, the gameplay seems to steer more towards making Disgaea more accessible. And I mean that, I say that because it's very clear on the Disgaea 6 website. I'm just gonna pull it up right now for me. Disgaea 6 website. There we are. So the website says, this truly is a netherworld fit for everyone. Now, they say this because they're talking about new features in the game, namely retry, replay, and super reincarnation. And I think these three specifically really point towards Disgaea being more accessible to people that aren't as well read in the world of tactical RPGs, and especially Disgaea has always been a very niche tactical RPG. What I'm trying to say is Disgaea is very niche, and it always has been, and that's kind of its charm, but it seems like Nippon Ichi really wants Disgaea to be more accessible to more people. And you see that they do this not just with the gameplay elements, new gameplay elements like retry, replay, and super reincarnation. I'm assuming, because we haven't seen any real gameplay yet, we're gonna wait for that. But I'm also saying this because the style has changed from 2D to 3D, which I think might be kind of in the same vein, right? Because the 3D on 2D, or the 2D on 3D look was very great, but that's also a pretty niche look. And I think 3D is way more widely accepted as the norm for video games. So I think they're really trying to paint a different picture of Disgaea, and a more accessible picture of Disgaea compared to the other installments. And you can say, yeah, this is a bad thing because it loses its unique charm, but I don't think that's necessarily the case. Why am I saying that? Again, I will tell you why I'm thinking that, and it's just my opinion, by the way. You can always disagree, but I think that it's not necessarily a bad thing, because the 3D isn't necessarily bad. It could very well carry over the original style while also being a more accessible look, a widely accepted look, as to keep the Disgaea series alive, and maybe even get it up to a new level, like have more people play it. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I really want more people to play Disgaea, because in the end, if more people play Disgaea, if more people buy the games, then there will be more Disgaea to follow, and a greater chance of the series really improving over time. So that's why. And yes, we will lose the 2D on 3D look. That one we're so accustomed to, and that one I'm very much a big fan of. I thought it really made Disgaea stand out. But that doesn't mean that 3D can't work just because 2D on 3D has been the look for so many years now. In the end, Disgaea has to move forward, and they always have been moving forward, and not just with the gameplay and the great quality of life changes every single iteration, but they have been doing this with the style as well. I mean, on the PlayStation 2, these 2D sprites were very pixely, and that's the norm. That's how the PlayStation 2 graphics work. But then you see on the PlayStation 3, they're fully fledged 2D characters, 2D animated characters. And then on the PlayStation 4, you see that they come in with the HD sprites. This is just another step in Disgaea's evolution, and in Disgaea's forward-thinking nature regarding its style. And yes, it's a bigger step. It's very much a bigger step. to go from 2D to 3D than to go from 2D that looks like PlayStation 2 graphics to 2D that looks like PlayStation 3 graphics. I get that, but it still fits in it still fits the progression of the series. Now there's also another gameplay feature. It's called Auto. I think it's auto battling, and I'm not sure, but I think Disgaea 1 had it on mobile. I'm not 100% on that. Please correct me if I'm wrong. But I think it will ensue that the game will have a feature in which you can have your units fight for you. You don't have to think about it yourself. You can just let them go and defeat the stage themselves or lose. I mean, we don't know how good this system is going to be, but I think that's going to be it. I don't know for sure. I don't know anything for sure because there's not a lot of new information. This is just me dumping my thoughts and sharing my thoughts on the information that we have right now. Another fun thing to talk about is the new characters. Now, we've already seen Zed and Bieko. I'm gonna pronounce that wrong. I'm sorry. But we've seen these two, and I think they have very solid designs. The zombie character really stands out, and I love that. So I'm really looking forward to seeing more of those two. But you know, we've already seen these two. Lots of fan art has been made of these two. So let's go on to some lesser seen characters. We have Cerberus, which is an adorable little zombie dog, which is, I presume, is going to be the main monster type character for this game. And then there's Overlord Ivar, who is basically Chad Christo. And I think he's going to be the overlord of the netherworld in which Zed and Bieko are living, and he might be a character that supports them from early on or supports them after a couple of chapters in their quest to defeat the god of destruction. Now, these character designs, they're looking pretty good. I'm very surprised, especially by Overlord Ivar. He looks really really awesome. I'm looking forward to meeting him in game. And of course, yeah, the adorable zombie puppy. Everybody loves an adorable zombie puppy. So now there were also some screenshots in which we have a sneak peek. We see a sneak peek of the battle of the isometric battle system, and you can see how the 3D works for this game. And obviously, this is, as the screenshot suggests, as the screenshot straight up tells you, it's taken from a development build. It's not the final build. For all we know, it might change very, very much. But from what I'm seeing, it looks pretty solid already. And I'm not just saying this because I'm apologetic of the 3D graphics. I'm saying this because I genuinely think it looks just fine. It does look a little unfinished, unpolished even, which is, well, logical because it's from a development build. But in any case, it's looking like there's, apart from just the 2D sprites turning into 3D models, apart from that, nothing really changes. It looks like it's just going to be Disgaea, but 3D. And that's fine, of course, but in the last video I made, I said, hey, Nipponichi, please make the 3D worth it. Please make it stand out. And I want them to really justify using 3D graphics over 2D sprites, because I'm a really big fan of the 2D sprites. And if 3D is going to replace it, I want it to really matter. That was my main point last video, and it's still a big point in this video. But seeing the screenshot, I think it's gonna be fine. I think the main gameplay isn't going to change a whole lot, but I think it'll do. I think the 3D might do wonders for the attack and other animations in the game, and it might even open up some new possibilities for cutscenes and many other things. So again, we need more information, but from this screenshot, what I'm seeing is that we're not going to have to be afraid of losing that classic Disgaea type gameplay, because it's really looking like that's just here to stay, you know. And as for the rest, yeah, we get some screenshots for attacks, and they really illustrate what I just said about the animations and the new possibilities they ensue. You can see that they're really playing with depth, and they're playing with perspective a little more. And again, they look a little unpolished, but this is again from a development build, and it's not even close to finished. It's going to be coming out in 2021 in Japan, so it's not 2021 yet. So I'm not worried about, you know, those models staying the same and looking shitty in the end. And I mean, they don't look shitty, they just look a little they look unpolished, what I already said. So I hope they're working on that, and I'm positive they're working on that, so I'm not too worried. Then there's one more thing I want to mention about the style in the 3D. As you can see, this screenshot very much shows that the 2D artworks are still there, right? They're used all throughout the game. In the trailer, we also saw that the little icons, when you hover over a character, they are still 2D. The combo indicators are still 3D, so I wouldn't be I wouldn't be so afraid of losing 2D. I wouldn't be so afraid of losing 2D altogether, right? It's here to stay. That's Disgaea, you know? It's still an anime game. It's still anime chess. Therefore, there's 2D. So don't be worried about that. I think it's going to stay, and as we can see about these great designs, these are also presented in 2D. We're not going to lose 2D completely, just in the gameplay and some of the animations, and I hope they're really going to improve on those animations and possibly even the gameplay. Another thing that Disgaea 6 website tells us is that there's going to be a grim and touching story, grim yet touching story, and I presume it's going to be in the old wacky Disgaea style. So I think, once again, this is just going to be a Disgaea experience, not just in gameplay but also in story. I think it's just going to continue perpetuating the same kind of stories they've been presenting us with for the past every single game ever in Disgaea. So yeah, that's my thoughts for now. If you have any thoughts about it, if you want to join in on the discussion, I highly encourage you do that. Do it maybe in the comments of this video, do it on your social media, do it by making a video like this one, maybe even, and get the word out, spread the word. And I'd love to hear your opinion. I hope you love to hear mine, and well, I guess I'll see you in the next video, which is probably gonna be when there's finally some news. And I say finally, but the game's just been announced, so I'm just very impatient. I guess you can stay tuned for some Disgaea 6 information. I'll make videos on it when I catch wind of it, and I hope you have a great day.